Hello everyone, Professor Halsey here. Last week we left off, we had just tested our stockclass.py program and should have gotten a successful completion. Okay, now we're going to move on to Module 3 part of the project. And in this part of the project, we're going to create a user menu for the users to use to add, list, delete, or track the price and volume history. So we'll have 4 options there. We'll create the functions to handle the menu items. Okay. And it gives us a note here that last week we had a unit test. This week we don't, but we should test it as we go. Okay, to get us started, they have actually created the stockmenu.py program for us, and we need to download it and save it in the same directory as our stock_class.py program. As part of our job, they've given us what's called some stubs, and we have to go fill in the code to make the stubs work. So first, let's start by going and getting stockmenu.py, which is what they told us to do up here. So let's go ahead and go get stockmenu.py. And we find it, on this page. You can download the text version or the .py file just by clicking on it. Okay. Then I'm going to right click. It's not letting me do that. I should be able to select all, but it's not letting me, so I'm going to copy it all from top to bottom. Control C to copy. And now I'm going to come to my Replit. And in my Replit, I'm going to click on this 150 folder. And over here to the side, it's going to let me add a file. Okay, I'm going to call this one stock_menu.py. And then I'll paste my code onto that sheet. Okay, if your matplotlib comes up with a red line underneath it, we're going to scroll down here at the bottom under Tools and go to Packages. And then under Packages, I'm going to search for matplotlib. And down here you'll see where mine says remove. It did say install. I installed it. And it did take a few minutes. I had a message pop up that was asking me to make it faster. That's a way to try to get you to buy the full version. Don't go for that. Just close it out and let it continue installing. It takes just a few minutes and then it'll be done. And the red line goes away. Now what we want to do is just run stockmenu.py so that we can see how the menu is supposed to work. Oh, and noticed when I ran it that it still ran my stock_class.py. That's because we need to come into our hidden files. So let me show hidden files. And we need to come into our .replit down here in the config files. And I'm going to change this from stock class to stock menu. And I can close that out once I'm done with it, and then I can run it again. Okay, we can see the output over here. I have 1 add, 2 delete, 3 list, 4 add daily stock data. 5 will be show the chart, 6 investor type, 7 load the data, and 0 is to exit the program. All right, so we're going to go through each of these one at a time. So you press number 1 and it comes back and tells us, okay, not sure what happened there, so I stopped it, I deleted my history, and I'm going to run it again. Okay, now I want to hit the option 1. This method is under construction. That's what's coming from number 1 right now. I'll do 2. Again, this method is under construction. Is the message coming from option 2. Number 3. This method is under construction. Stock analyzer. 4. This method is under construction. 5. This method is under construction. And you can see that over here as we're doing this. This is all that's in those, is that it's returning that message. This method is under construction. So currently each of these methods is working. They're just ready for us to plug in the information. You can see 7 and 8 actually came back and said goodbye, which should have been 0. If I enter 0, there you go. Now you can see it quit. I'm going back to run, and it said goodbye as we exited. Okay, so I'm going to clear that out again. Okay. Now I believe it's telling us we want to just go look through the code. The functions in bold are those we need to implement now. Other modules will be implemented at a later time. So I think we're just working through the first few in the class today, and we'll look at the others later. So for right now, let's look at just the code real quick. And again, like I said, for each of these methods that we see down here now, it currently just says this method is under construction. So we'll have to come back and actually add the code in here to make these methods or these functions work. Okay. You can see down here the actual main menu. And it lists all the items in there that we're going to let them use. Okay, then it goes through several, it accepts the option from the user. Then we go through and check to see what the value of each option is. Based on that particular option, we run that particular function that we're writing, or method that we're writing, to handle that particular menu request. Okay, so now we're going to implement our first method. This one is the add stock method. And in this method, we want to ask the user for information about the stock they want to add to their portfolio, the ticker symbol, the company name, and the number of shares. Once we gathered all that information, we call the constructor for the stock class, pass it that information, and create a new instance of stock. We'll put this in a loop so users can add additional stocks, and they press 0 to quit. All right. And they gave us the pseudocode to implement the stock. So we're going to take this pseudocode and convert it to the actual code for add stock menu option 1. Okay, so here for add stock, the first thing we want to do is set our option to null, and that's what we're looking at here. Let me zoom in a little bit on this one so you can see it just a little bit better. All right, so instead of doing the print here, we want to set option equal to null, and we do that with 2 sets of parentheses. Oops. Now I had to watch me on that one. I'm going to type in the wrong place. And option equals, and we're using quotes, double quotes, and we'll use 2 of them, and there's nothing in between. I don't know why that predictive from Replit was not on point there. That's not what we need. And this is while not equal, but instead of in, we want, what are we checking for? We want them to hit 0, right? So once they hit 0, then we're ready to quit. Otherwise, we keep going. Okay. All right, so we do want to print a message here, but it's just going to be add stock. And then after that, we're going to take symbol, and our symbol's equal to input enter stock symbol. And we're going to convert that to uppercase. Shoot. All right, so if we took that and did dot upper, pupper, I'm having fun today, upper, I want to make that upper case. And my symbols somehow got moved. There we go. All right, so now we're all right. Not sure why it's going to that next line. All right, so while option, maybe that prints. Nope, that's where it should be. Symbol, and okay, now we're going to do the name. Same thing for name. And enter the stock name, or enter the company name. And we'll do the same thing with shares, and it's we're not going to convert that to an integer. It's going to be a float. Enter number of shares. Okay. Then we'll create a new stock. And our stock, we're going to pass to it symbol, name, and shares. Okay, and then with stock list, we'll append our new stock to the end of stock list. I love Replit. It darn near types the program for me. And then I'm going to take my option. And here, press enter to add another, or 0 to stop adding stocks. I do like to exit better, and that makes it shorter. And there we go. All right, so that should let us enter our new stock. And we took our pseudocode from here and created our code over here to match it. Now we'll give it a run. And we're going to push option 1 to add a stock. We'll enter the symbol MSN, enter the company name, Microsoft, and I got 5,200 shares. All right, so that works. Let's try entering another one. So we just hit enter, and that's going to let us add another one. So I'll do VRB, and I don't know these for sure, Verbo, and I spelled that wrong, and I got 5,500 shares of that as well. And now I want to try to do the 0 to exit. And it did go back to the main menu, so that's exactly where I want to be. I can hit 0 again to exit this menu, and now I'm back out to the main part of the program. Okay, now we're on to the next part, which is implement the list stock method. So in other words, we just entered 2. If we'd have been able to hit 2 to list them or 3 to list them, we would have been able to see what we had listed. So we're going to move down to number 3 right now, which is list stock. Okay, and this is what we want it to come out looking like. And here is our pseudocode, more or less, to get it implemented. So we output a suitable title for the stock list screen. And again, I'm coming down to list stock. And instead of printing, this method is under construction. We are going to print a message there that says stock list. So actually I don't need to delete all of that, just this part. And I'll go with okay, get rid of that one. And no, we're not to that point yet. We're going to print another line that tells the user to enter the symbol. Nope, I forgot that T. So I need a T in front of shares. And I need that T in front of name too that I forgot. All right. Okay, and then I'm going to do another print. This one's just going to be more or less a separator. And now for stock and stock list, we'll print our stock dot symbol. And a space, asterisk for times 14 minus the length of the stock dot symbol. And then we do the stock dot name, comma, and another space, and another asterisk, and then 14 minus the length, stock dot name, comma, stock shares is correct. I'm going to come back. Okay, I'm not sure what I had going on there, but once we got that line in, I want to do another print statement, but it's back up under the other prints, not under that for loop. And then under that, I'm going to do the underscore input, underscore equals input, and press enter to continue. All right. So that should be our list here. And we're going to give it a run and check it. Okay, let me hit stop first and clear this out and then run it. I'm going to hit 1 to add. And then I have to enter some. Okay, now I can do a list since I entered some. And it should show me the ones I entered. There we go. So we have number 1 and number 3 done. Okay, now that we have those done for add and list, we're going to come back and look at delete stock. Okay, in our delete stock, we will ask them which one they want to delete, or we'll list what we have first, and then we're going to ask them which one they want to delete. And again, they gave us a section of pseudocode here to help us with that as well. Okay, so this will be for my delete stock. So in here we'll print. This is delete stock. That's the title for a function or a method. And I also want to tell them what stocks we have listed. So I'm going to go through each stock in stock list and print the stock dot symbol. And then back up under the 4, we do another print. Of the final closing bracket, because you can see here's the opening square bracket, this is the closing square bracket, and we're putting everything in between them like it showed here in the list. Okay, now I'm going to ask them which stock they want to delete. And wow, I love this thing. Which stock do you want to delete? Put a question mark in there and convert it to upper, and they're exactly right. That's exactly what I want to do. And then we're going to start out and say found equals false. Start us a counter at 0. Oh, good Lord. Come on, you're so smart. Quit messing up my ending. All right, and then for stock and stock list, if the stock dot symbol equals the symbol, then we set found equal to true. Man, that's pretty cool. One thing they didn't do here that we want to do is stock underscore list dot pop, and we want to pop wherever the counter's pointing at the moment. We are not doing a break here. And then we do come down and add 1 to I. And if found is true, then we'll print stock deleted, comma, symbol, and show them which one we deleted. Okay, my F has a squiggly line. I'm not far back enough on it. That's what was going on there. Else, and it should be lined up with my F as well. We say stock not found, and just like we did at the end of here, I'm going to grab this input line until I don't like typing. And under that else is where my input line will go. All right, so I've got that part done for the delete. Now we're going to have to try to run it again. Okay, I'm going to delete my history, actually hit stop and then delete my history, and then I want to run it again. Okay, and the first thing I'm going to do, I got to add some stocks. So, go look up your own. I make mine up just to have something to enter here. All right, so now I can list my stock now that I've entered a few. All right, there's my list of stock. I hit enter to continue. It brings me back to the main menu. Now I've noticed I have an error, so I'm going to hit 2. And it says, which one do I want to delete? I'm going with MSN. Stock deleted in the MSN. Press enter to continue. And now I can do 3 to list my stock again. And you see now I'm only left with the Verbo one. Awesome. So we can add, delete, and list our stocks. Number 4 is we're going to look at adding daily stock data to our stocks. Okay, so now we can add, delete, and view our stocks. So this next one is add stock data. And we actually are going to be using having the user enter those 3 pieces of information in that particular order. So we give them an example here, and if you look at what it should look like when we get done, it says we're adding daily stock data, and here's the list of what we have. So there's only one in here right now. Which one do you want to use? We're using that one. Ready to add data for this stock. Okay, so that's all precursor. Now we're telling the user how to enter this data. Enter the data separated by commas. Do not use spaces. Enter a blank line to quit. And you want to enter the date, comma, price, comma, volume. And then they give an example. And they show you how to enter the date, comma, the price, comma, and the volume. Okay, so then when you get into the program, it's going to run, if you were running it and you entered this piece of data, so this is enter the data, and we're entering the data here, 120, 3850, 100,500 shares. That was hard to say for some reason. All right, and then we hit enter. It's going to let us enter another piece of daily data, and this is for the next day, and we enter the next price and the number of shares, and then we hit enter there, and it brings us to the next day, or the next line, so we can enter the next day, the next amount, and the next number of shares. Then when we get to the new line and we hit enter, without entering anything, then they know that the date entry is complete. So we've finished entering the data. Press enter to continue. So we hit enter there and it goes on. This is given here. This is the code. So you can copy the code from here. They didn't want you to have to write all of this. So they actually put, a colleague of ours actually wrote this stub. So we had to write 3 stubs. They wrote this stub, and we're going to copy their stub and put it into our code. All right, so I'm going to copy it. If my cursor will start working. And see how I knocked off that. I want to get that first piece right there. So I've got to start back here. That way I'm not going to have any indentation errors. And I'm going to come down and get to the end of this line. And I'm going to copy that. and come over to Replit. And it's good there. And I'm going to paste that in my Add Daily Stock Data module. Okay, I'm going to test it here, and first I have to add a stock. Okay, and I'm going to hit 0 here. I only want to enter that 1. I want to list it, make sure it's there. It is. Hit enter, get back to the main program, and now I want to do 4 to add daily stock data. Which stock do I want to use? MSFT. All right, and you can see here it shows me exactly what we told it to. And we want to enter now the date, the price, and the volume separated by a comma. So I'm going to do like the example in 01/01/2024, comma, and the price I want to give it, let's start out at 50.25. And what did I put in my initial one? 100500. All right. Then for the next day, 01/02/2024, comma, I got the price is going up to 55.25, and I'm going to keep the same number of shares. 01/03/2024, and I'm going up to, or let's say we come down to 53.75. Oops. And right now, because I don't have any error checking in, that would not be good. It just crashed my code. All right, so now I'm done, and I don't want to enter anymore, so I'm going to hit enter here. Press enter to continue, so I'm doing good. And there we go. We have entered our daily stock data. We can't view it right now, which will be our next step, because once we get that data, we want to be able to generate a chart for it. So that's number 5, show the chart. Right now it's still a stub, so we're going to do 5, 6, and 7 at a later date. But right now we are done with 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I hope you had fun with stubs programming.